Hello, everyone. My name is Marlene Ayala, and I'm glad to be here presenting at Macfrut. Today, I'm going to talk about the progress of the sweet cherry breeding in Chile. And I'm going to present the PMGC that belongs to the Fruit Consortium. During this presentation, you will see a quick introduction, an overview of the main activities of the program, some result and stage of development, the next steps and projections, and the main conclusions. As you know, Chile is the first sweet cherry exporter in the world. Most of 90% of our production is exported to Asia, and from that 80% is exported to China. We don't have our own sweet cherry varieties, and that is limiting. We are also far away from the markets. That's why we need a very good post-harvest life in our productions and fresh fruit. Along the years, the exported volumes have increased as well as exports, as you can see in the graph. And Chile has become a very important actor in the international markets, defining prices and volumes. Due to that, in the year 2010, the Export Association of Chile, several exporters and producers, and the Catholic University of Chile, forming the Fruit Consortium, decided to start a breeding program to develop early and late sweet cherry varieties adapted to our own climatic, commercial, and logistic requirements, with the main objective of coping with the climate change and maintain competitiveness. During these years, we have established a diverse germplasm collection. We have a massive and diverse population of hybrids in 2 different locations of Chile. We have been doing phenotyping and selection, and we have populations of first and second hybrid selections, and we have identified some candidates as advanced selections. We are expecting to have our own varieties since the year 2030. As other breeding programs, the traits yield and fruit quality are important for us. However, we have to include 2 other important traits that are the harvest date. We need early and late varieties because our production is concentrated in mid-season varieties, and that reduces the returns to growers. And we also need long storage life of our own varieties. We have to reach long-distance markets, and our fruit has to be fresh for more than 30 days. So when we think about the ideal cherry for Chile, we are thinking in production, quality, harvest date, and cold storage. In terms of production, for example, we need high productivity and precocious varieties that they have to be cracking tolerant. Some of them need to be low chill requirement, or they have to tolerate environmental stress. In addition, they have to produce high quality fruit in terms of size, weight, firmness, and sugar content. And in addition, we need to find alternatives of early varieties for October and early November, and late varieties for harvest at the end of January and February. And besides that, we need varieties with long storage life and low physiological disorders. These 4 factors are very important for our breeding program. As a research team, we are composed by Dr. Sofoli and Gebauer and myself. I'm in charge of the breeding program at Catholic University, and we are also supported by the help of the technicians Catherine Walls and Andres Valenzuela. And in addition, we have lucky because we have international collaborations and training with experts in sweet cherry physiology and breeding, and biotechnology. You can see Dr. Lang from MSU there, Dr. Apostol and Gesa Bodoso del Narik in Hungary. We have an agreement with them to exchange germplasm for making some crosses from the beginning of the program. And also we had the training of Dr. Olmsted at some point at the beginning of the program. In terms of an overview of the program, I can show you the crosses at the beginning, the propagation and the establishment of the first seedlings, and so on. And later on, the management of those progenies, the selection and grafting during the first selection step, and then the second selection hybrids evaluation. And right now we have, at this point, 13 years after the beginning of the program, and we have identified 4 candidates for advanced selections that we are going to graft into different rootstocks and establish them in multi-sites that belongs to stakeholders of the consortium. And there we are going to start the commercial evaluations, and we expect to have a new variety the year 20, that would be the year 230 in the calendar. Just to show you some pictures, crosses at Pirke Research Station and other stakeholders' orchards. We have manual crosses. We also enclose whole trees in cages with bumblebees, and we have collected OP seeds. And in terms of the combinations that we have made during these years, we can say that have a wide range of genetic diversity with more than 625 combinations. We have repeated some of them depending on the year, and we have established the seedlings at Pirque Experimental Station, that is a cool area, and at Coltalco School, that is a warmer area. And here you can see, for example, early bloom family against a late bloom family. Some other attributes include early and late bloom, high productivity, precocity, different colors, different shapes, and sizes. In terms of plant propagation, we have done embryo rescue for early harvest crosses in charge of Dr. Gebauer. Here you can see some in vitro culture and acclimation of seedlings in the lab and in the greenhouse at San Joaquin campus of Catholic University of Chile. Also, we have made some seed stratification for mid and late harvest crosses. And here to the right, you can see seedlings in the middle of the winter in the greenhouse at Pirque Research Station. Besides the propagation of seedlings, we have to establish them in the field. We have 2 places, Pirque and Coltauco. In Pirque, we have evaluated most of the progenies, and we have the germplasm collection located there. And in Coltauco, we have some other progenies, first selection hybrids, and second selection hybrids in a number of 36. When we are in the field, we're selecting interesting hybrids, we record bloom and harvest date, productivity, fruit quality, and we select against cracked and double fruits. Once we are in the lab with the fruit of the interesting hybrids, we measure fruit quality mainly, and among those parameters that you see there, we are interested in firmness, size, and sugars as important ones, and we fill out this type of sheets that we keep in our database. Once we evaluate the first selection hybrids, we graphed the most interesting ones on the Gisela 12 rootstocks, and we followed the performance considering a more detailed phenotyping. And I have highlighted here, for example, we're interested in Chilean and heat requirements, bloom and harvest dates, and also storage life and condition. Because in this step, when we already grafted the second selection hybrids, we start evaluating post-harvest life. In terms of the products, we have around 81 second selection hybrids that were picked from a total of around 1,000 individuals that were evaluated in the lab. And these 81 hybrids are grafted, as I told you, on the rootstock Gisela 12. You can see the trees behind the table and some fruit of the second selection hybrids in Coltauco, the 6th region of Chile. When you divide these 81 hybrids, we have already 36 that are grafted and established in the field, 38 that are grafted in pots, and they have to be established in Coltauco, and 7 of them are not grafted, and they will be grafted this year. Here you can see some pictures of the second selection hybrids during the phenotyping and some other measurements that we do every year. During the program, we also have to carry out field days. Here you see a field day in Coltauco. There are several attendants, exporters, growers, governmental representatives, and even we had the visit of the Chinese ambassador last year. And we have early, late, and mid-season field dates in which we see the fruits, the trees, and we taste them, and we receive the feedback of the industry, which is very important for us. As summary, I can say that in terms of the stage of development of the program, we have 81 second selection hybrids, and from them, 36 have been established in the field in Coltauco. 24 of them are already phenotyped, and from them we have picked or selected 4 candidates for advanced selections. And these candidates will be grafted in 2 different rootstocks and established in orchards of the stakeholders in 3 different locations. For the next steps and projections, if we consider that we are in the year 2023, we can say that we are going to work with the advanced selections besides the selection process behind this step. But for those advanced selections, we're going to work hard in developing the technological package and do the virus cleaning. And our challenge is to have our first variety the year 2030, and from there continue getting more varieties for Chile. Here you can see very briefly the first group of 24 selection hybrids. We expect 2 varieties the year 2030, and the second, the third, and the fourth group, you can see the numbers and the expected varieties and the years. And just to show you some candidates for advanced selections that we have found during these years, there are 4, and they were obtained without the application of dormancy breakers, GA3 at the straw color, and without thinning. The first one is G318, which is considered early harvest between the 15th and 17th of November. This is 9 to 11 days before Santina. It has a good fruit size, sugar content and high firmness. It is very crispy. It has been evaluated very well in the field days, and it has a good condition on the tree. The second candidate, G25, it's also considered early, 7 to 9 days before Santina. It has a good fruit size, fresh weight, sugar content, and firmness. It has been well evaluated in the field days, and it had a good storage performance. The third candidate is bicolor, as you can see. It's mid-early, 6 to 9 days before Santina. Its size is above 30 millimeters, a good fresh weight, high level of sugars, and very high firmness. It's a good candidate as for mid-early, and is bicolor. It was well evaluated in field dates in 2 consecutive years. And finally, the fourth candidate, G27, is a mid-season candidate, 8 to 10 days after Santina. Its size is around 30 millimeters, a good soluble solid content, and good firmness. And it was well evaluated in the field days and has a good storage performance. These 4 candidates, as I told you, will be grafted this year and established under commercial conditions. Finally, the conclusions. A few ones only. We have a population of first selection hybrids that are under evaluation in Coltauco. We continue working on the selection very hardly and keeping a release of different from the first to the second and to advanced selection hybrids along years. We have identified 81 second selection hybrids, and some of them are grafted and established in the field. Some of them are going to be established and grafted. From these 81 second selection hybrids, we have identified 4 candidates for advanced selections to be grafted and established under commercial conditions. And we expect as a challenge to have our first variety or varieties since the year 2030. And that will allow us to keep our competitiveness in the market. Thank you very much to all, and I appreciate the opportunity of presenting at Macfrut.